Get wrecked. Hi, hello. We're Threads Unraveled. I'm Serenity.
I'm Eric.
Today we're gonna be reading.
She's gonna be reading.
I'm gonna be reading another horror story. Scary story. Every time I say horror, it sounds like I'm saying whore. I think I have a speech impediment.
Yep.
You're welcome. Okay. Today's story is called Everyone Says My Hometown Doesn't Exist. What Happened to Casey Falls? The story is by Dr. Terrifying on Reddit. Glasses.
Wait.
Everyone says my hometown doesn't exist. I'm beginning to believe them, but that doesn't mean that was always the case. Let me back up. The first time I encountered this bizarre denial was after my first semester at college. I trekked to the Amtrak station, luggage in tow, and asked the attendant for one ticket to Casey Falls, Michigan. She looked up from her desk and blinked. Where? Casey Falls, Michigan, I repeated, a smidge slower this time. After she performed a search on her computer, then sought counsel from her manager, they determined that if Casey Falls was a real place, it wasn't a stop on their lines. How can that be? I protested. I could see the How could that be? I protested. I could see the train station as clearly in my mind's eye as their bewildered faces before me. Every spring break, I took the train with my family into Chicago, boarding at 7 o'clock in the morning at the platform just east of Berry Street. Dad would hand me $2 to buy a Coke and a bag of pretzels from the vending machine. Before the train station arrived. Before the train arrived, my younger sister, Janie, and I sat impatiently on the benches waiting for our journey to begin. But replaying this memory to the exasperated attendants did not correct their systems, which omitted Casey Falls from its available destinations. I keep wanting to call it Cassidy.
Cassidy?
Yeah, I don't know why. What do you think so far?
It has potential. I like the energy.
Yeah, it has potential. I personally don't know how to feel about the story, though.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because of the ending. But you don't know that yet, so...
I'm in the dark here.
We'll see if your feelings differ from mine.
We'll see.
We'll see. I spent that Christmas alone in my dorm, desperately trying to get a hold of my family. But none of them answered. Mom, dad, sister, phone, email, text, Facebook, nothing. Even stranger was that overnight their online presence vanished, erased socials, bounced emails. When I called again, a recording informed me that the numbers I was trying to reach had been disconnected. What was going on? The following 2 weeks, ordinarily spent opening presents, reconnecting with high school friends, ringing in the new year, were instead consumed in my intense investigation. I scrubbed the internet for any mention of my hometown. I came up empty-handed. Despite endless hours scouring Google, Yahoo, and even Bing, I found no mention of the central Michigan burg, enclosed in forest, home to Casey Falls Army Training Camp. In the defunct, collapsed copper mines, even Google Maps erased Casey Falls from its records. Where I ordinarily would see a cluster of homes and farms and Main Street, there was only a green swath of forest land. My hometown had literally been wiped off the map. Worse yet, it was beginning to disappear from my own memory. As break rolled on, my ceaseless search failed to yield a shred of evidence of my hometown's existence. I noticed my own recollection of it fading. While staring blurry-eyed at the television on New Year's Eve, watching Relver's crowd Times Square to watch the Spangled Ball drop, I realized I couldn't remember any previous New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. That doesn't sound right. How had I spent them in Casey Falls? Maybe it was common to forget a few, for their memories to bleed into one another, to mix up which party went with which year, but to lose every New Year's Eve from one's personal history, I felt hollow, and in the void where Casey Falls and my preceding 18 years of memories should have been. Something dark and sinister lurked. When my roommate returned in January and saw that I had been holed up in our dorm for the entire break, he naturally inquired, what happened? What happened indeed, was my mad response. Desperate for a memory of home, even if secondhand, I interrogated Sean. Surely you remember me talking about home at some point, right? I asked. And while he agreed that surely in our various 2 a.m. chats, we must have touched on the subject, he was chagrined to admit nothing specific. The silver lining to this distressing chat was that I had a partner. Sean, fascinated by my absent origin, took up the cause with me.
Okay.
Keep in mind, we're already halfway through the story.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no updates. I went and checked
Right.
the writer's Reddit because I wanted more. Desperately. I think the writer wrote this in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. What do you think so far?
Big yawn. I really like the idea. It's kind of giving me like I forget the movie. Okay. I mean, it could just be. It's kind of bouncing back and forth, you know. Like, is it supernatural, or does she just not remember the name of her hometown properly?
I do think it's a dude, the main character.
His. We don't assume.
Okay.
Don't. Let me get water real quick.
Okay. We've only been. Wow, wait, we've already been recording for 9 minutes.
That's insane.
Although I'm already through the first page. This is gonna be a short episode.
We'll be fine.
I don't want it to be short.
I'll get another story.
When I read this one and made corrections. Slurp, slurp.
Oh. A fresh, ice-cold cup of water is some of the best things on earth. Oh, it doesn't anything.
He caught up quick, performing his own research online before arriving at the conclusion that we had to see for ourselves. So on a weekend in late January, he drove us in his junky sedan into the heart of the mitten, to where Casey Falls should have carved out a space for itself in the surrounding forest. To my horror, we only found trees. It sounds like I said horror again. Where Maine should have intersected with Blanchard, there was only a dirt drive reaching back into the woods. Sean didn't think his car would handle the uneven road too well, but after some pleading, he gave in. We drove slow along the forested road. Tree branches squeezing us into a tunnel of foliage. Right here, I said. Casey Falls should be right here. I leapt out of the car and raced through the woods. I'm not sure why. I don't think it was normal or rational. Just emotions taking control. A medley comprising of anger, grief, confusion, and fear that propelled me through the underbrush until I tripped over something metal. I turned back to find a green box, like a geocache, resting on the forest floor. Inside, yellow pages with age featured, some sort of code scrawled across them, written with only half-decent penmanship. What the hell is that? Asked Sean, when he finally caught up to me. It was the question we tried pairing with an answer over the ensuing month. Neither of us were real code breakers, so we shopped the pages around campus, taking it to math nerds and professors in the hopes one of them might crack it. One by one, they tried their best to decipher the documents, but each one met
Invariably.
But each one met invariably with defeat. One professor called it the toughest code she'd ever encountered, while another suggested, in all likelihood, the pages were rubbish. What do you think so far?
Kinda crazy.
I don't know what to say, because, I don't think it's a bad story.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it needs more.
Right.
Especially with how it ends.
Right. We're not there yet.
This episode's gonna be so short.
We'll be fine.
But the fact that I had found it where my hometown should have kept... But the fact that I found it where my hometown should have been kept... But the fact that I found it where my hometown should have been kept me from accepting the latter explanation. Something was written in those papers, something that helped explain what happened to Casey Falls. But I'll never uncover its secrets because on March 3rd, someone tore our dorm room apart, and the only thing they took with them was the coded pages. Spooked by this flagrant invasion of privacy, Sean told me that he wouldn't pursue the Casey Falls mystery further. He believed that by showing the documents around campus, we attracted the attention of the feds, CIA, NSA, some other three-lettered agency no one had ever heard of, and now we were being watched. Whatever happened to your hometown, Sean said. They don't want anyone to find out. Next week, Sean transferred out, enrolling in a school on the East Coast. He left without saying goodbye. Another exit without ceremony. I've since taken a barista job to be able to stay in Chicago through the summer, since I've got nowhere else to go, while reckoning with the fact I've become an orphan in every sense of the word. I can't help shaking the feeling that someone is watching me. Whatever happened to Casey Falls, it wasn't good. I can feel it in my bones, the unheard screams of family and neighbors vibrating in the marrow. I feel them, and it makes me sick, but I cling on to the horror because it's all I have left of home.
Right, so we're led to believe it's like a government cover-up. Something happened there.
Yeah. I don't know, I don't know that's where I would personally take the story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wish there was more to the story.
Leaves a lot to imagination.
Yeah. One of the comments on this post was about the fact that he didn't make copies of the codes, which was his only lead. Another one replying to that comment was, yeah, that was what I was thinking too. Because, like, how are you going to let your only lead just be one singular thing? You should have copies of it.
I mean, amateur stuff for them.
I mean, like, it's not a bad story. It's just lacking, in my opinion. Which I don't think the person who wrote the story has posted another one since this story. If I was reading the dates right.
Or were they caught?
I really do wish there was more.
Mm-hmm.
16 minutes.
I can't pop my back.
Should I print another story? What time is it? I couldn't print another story if I wanted to, because my mom's almost home. God damn it.
It'll be alright. Coming back from a break. But I also get a short episode. Maybe not next week, but I get a short episode.
I didn't want a short episode. I wanted a decent episode.
Well, you got better at reading, so it made a...
That's because I actually read through the story and gave fucking...
You did feel like you were rushing a bit through this little part here. Like, you saw the end and you wanted the end.
It's because I was frustrated by it. I'm disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like that's harsh. But, like, genuinely I am. Because it could have went so much further.
I mean, they caught you in their story. That's a sign that it's a good story. They just need more. The fact that you're upset at all. It's great.
It feels so unfinished. My mother's home. It feels unfinished, and it's disappointing to me. Well, sorry for the shortness of this episode. We are Threads Unraveled. I'm Serenity.
Eric, here. Me.
Did that last week, too.
Did I?
I think so.
I can't be reusing these jokes. Anyway.
We love y'all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.